is Deborah Norville a man or a woman? Yeah, I heard the same thing. Yeah, a long time ago. Yes, thank you. Gee, you look like Deborah Norville. You're not Deborah Norville. Oh, Larry. Oh, okay. Are you awake yet? Come on. This is Sophisticated Psychology, Gary York. That camera looks a little low, but I gotta go fast here. And just got back from a fishing trip. Plenty of catfish, not very big. Real psychology. I'm trying to teach you how to do something besides damaging the productive working people's things, doing foolish, primitive protesting. And I'm trying to teach you how to do it through education. And I wanted you to call Kate Gallego, the mayor of Phoenix, to get them on some... the Phoenix police tried to crash my vehicle again. And this will be 9/11 of 2019. It still has not been resolved. I only got them calling me. 2 years and 11 days went by. Once I put it on a video, there was response, but only from police at the guilty police precinct. So, that's not too good. The burglar, the bank robber looking for the bank robber, they're probably not going to find him. And but we're going to see what happens. I haven't heard from them in a week. So I'll give the sergeant a call at 56th Street and Greenway Road, Phoenix Precinct, and see what we've got. Let's see if it works to be the good guy. No. Okay. Okay. Yes, I am Gary York. I'm trying to get through to Sergeant Remy, R-E-A-U-M-E. So have him call back Gary York. I'm at 719-231-4243. Thank you, bye. Well, it run around 2 years, and now it's going on 2 years, 3 weeks. Trying to get down to business on these crimes that the Phoenix police have been committing against me when I was 6. I was born into organized crime. Organized crime said to me, and I can't be specific, I have to be vague, not identify anyone. They said, we're not going to put a lock on your bedroom door, but if you dare to turn that door handle and come out when we don't say you can, we're just going to call the police. And that would be the Phoenix police. They'll come take you away, lock you in a room you may never get out of, and terrible things happen to the prisoners. Shortly after that, they said, now take a walk around the block. And when they tell me, take a walk around the block, that's what I did. And there was a police officer waiting in a Phoenix police car. And this would have been in the later 1960s. Not so long ago, 2021 years, you're still looking for somebody that is not coming. And what you're ending up with is last day's doom that you're actually looking at. It's on a subconscious level. I can help you out. I'll be your second coming for you. And you're done. This nightmare is over. This time you just need to accept it and quit being a bunch of pussy stuffing salt in Jesus' mouth. And what does his father say about him being a son of a virgin? What did Joseph say about that? And how was that so accepted to write a Bible and so believable back then that this wife of Joseph was a virgin? Well, that adds more and more credibility every day to what I have to say. Every war fought through history was the failure of women. So anyway, we've got a long way to go here. I went around the block. There's the Phoenix police officer pulled up to me, and in the vehicle, one officer, and I was, I don't know, 6, 7 years old, maybe younger, somewhere in there. And as soon as I went to school, first grade, 3 children policing me every recess throughout the first 6 grades of school, and then they got broke up. And I'm not going into that today. But the policing started when I was 6, with the uniformed officer identifying that. Why? All evidence, my parents came out from Connecticut. My family, 1960, Joe Arpaio territory. I can mention Joe Arpaio because he is a public figure, and I'm not allowed to mention others, so I don't. And from Connecticut, Joe Arpaio territory, to Maricopa County, Joe Arpaio territory. To Gila County, Joe Arpaio's undercover agent, I can mention Danny DeVito. No relation that I know of, but they both look the same. And that's all I can do. I can mention Danny DeVito because he chose to be a public figure. And he's only his appearance, that's the only thing about it. But my family, I'm going to cut right to it and get this off pretty quick because I wasn't able to get through to any of these officers here. Leave a message. That's all you can do. Leave a message and the police report number. Well, there's no police report number, so they're just going to throw that in the garbage and he's not going to call back. He didn't call me to begin with to be accountable. They called me once, a sergeant and an officer, and they both claimed not to know each other. And why did these two people call? All of you need to get involved in this and say, hey, let's move forward in a manner instead of wandering around with a cardboard protest sign. You women in America in the 70s or whatever it is, wandering around your split lip and your black eye, that was probably most likely done by undercover cops. And sporting that to cry for zero tolerance assault law. And that was a really bad idea. That put a mind frame to you that you were invincible, you could carry out any crime you wanted, and no one could touch you. And it is true. As long as it matches the government's agenda. Some of the worst crimes out there, like divorce, the failure of a wife, ruining the equity in the house, ruining the children, ruining the family. These need to be looked at as identified as crimes. Doing 60 miles an hour when the speed limit used to be 55 on the freeway. No. They showed on the TV the people chopping down marijuana plants. This is Colorado that I'm in. They said they seized $1 million. Well, put the word theft on that. Try it that way, because you need opposite mind frame. That's what real psychology is. To balance things out and to weigh between. Is this a rivaling drug seller? That is the government. They're proposing, oh gee whiz, we're going to tax marijuana a little higher and give money to wonderful children, I think it was. Some of them probably female, and that touches the heart even more. And but try saying that with different words. Murder, theft, kidnapping, stalking, bullying. Try that pertaining to your police. Does that also work? Is that what is occurring? And weigh between the two instead of abandoning truth and you've only got one that the TV gave you. That's what they did in Jesus' time. It was a really bad idea, and you've gone in a lie circle for 2021 years because of it. You've got hypnotic problems. You're not thinking, you're not weighing between both sides of the story. To everything there's an opposite. I don't know if there's anything that doesn't have an opposite. So I'll just say to everything there's an opposite. You want to give me more information? Give me more. I'll try processing that and see what we come out with that time. But I wanted to tell about one murder that occurred. Murder has no boundaries of truth, or excuse me, has no limit, no time limit on it. Well, how does a bank robbery or a theft of some sort, other crimes, how do they have a time limit? Did the crime really not happen because 7 years went by? It still did, and it is not logical to put a time limit on things. It is logical to be reasonable on what your what game you're playing. Geez, is everything a crime? And but think about that. But murder has no statute of limitations. I've got to be vague here. When I was 14, I wanted to get away from organized crime, and I think I was about that age. I was building up a landscape maintenance business in Phoenix, and I was going to high school, and I wanted my weekends to do landscape maintenance and build up the business, get away from organized crime. And one of the events, there were more than one, the Phoenix police came trespassing onto my job site, which was nearby, laughing and telling me, okay, now you've got to come with us. And they use lines like, I am 6'6", do you think you can kick my ass? Your family doesn't owe you anything. I'm trying to be vague. Bullying tactics. And what they were doing was destroying my credibility. They were building a false history at the police station that I was not credible, so therefore I could not be at this home on the weekends, and then from there do my landscape maintenance when I was 14. I had to go to Pine, Arizona and help build a house. And so they were, organized crime was able to use the Phoenix police for that and probably 100 other events. But I'm, instead of a 30-hour video, I'll try and do a little shorter 30-minute video. But what was one of the other? Oh yes, they had to clean up some sewer records, so they just called who was referred to as Good Old Joe Arpaio. He had an undercover agent, which I very shortly after that met, and apparently he had been stalking me since 7th grade because there was evidence of it, and I won't go into that. Burned down the building, or the portion of the building. The story I heard, he burned down the whole building that held sewer records, and that vanished the sewer records that they didn't want. But yeah, there were no records of sewer hookup. And I won't go into detail because nobody knows about building permits and all of that. But there was no record of it. So they burned down the building. And the government back then, according to the story, had to call everybody around Phoenix whose records in the area had been burned. Are you hooked to city sewer? They had to just trust them that yes, yes, yes. And then they had to trust them that it was a clean hookup to city sewer. So that's the mind frame that organized crime has. Just light the whole building on fire. And in return, or so they thought, they had me go off with the undercover agent, apparently to Sambo's Restaurant, Bell Road, and just west of Cave Creek Road. And this would be around 1978. And so that was when I met this undercover agent for Joe Arpaio. He said he was an undercover agent for Joe Arpaio in the 70s. He stalked me throughout my lifetime. But anyway, we waited at a job site. I can't mention it, I guess, because it's an organized crime property, and waited for the okay to go to Sambo's Restaurant. I'm guessing they were robbing the black people out. Phoenix police want to be paid for their crimes. And it was lied to me that he was a Christian counselor. I did not need Christian counseling. He did not do any Christian counseling. So then as he got the notice to go to Sambo's restaurant, we went in and sat down. And he picked a seat where he could see back to the where they were preparing the food, and he was leaning forward on the table. And of course, he's a very small man. I would just lean back to get away from him. He was looking into the cooking area. Now, for this to have played out, the Phoenix police would have had to put in an undercover agent that was a cook at the Sambos at that time, and they were apparently arranging a setup to make a girl sick, apparently. Now, Joe Arpaio had plenty of drugs. He was into the drug law enforcement in the 70s, and they would have had an arsenal of anything they could put in that hamburger to give somebody an overdose or whatever they needed, food poisoning, who knows. But they use a female girl, apparently went to the Paradise Valley High School in Phoenix, and this is the story I heard. The parents fed her the other half of the hamburger and killed her off. They brought it into the hospital, and probably plenty of organized crime in that hospital, and fed her the other half of the hamburger because she wasn't dead yet, and killed her. And who knows what was in the hamburger or what actually occurred, but that's the story. And apparently robbed out that franchise or whatever it is. Maybe it's not even owned by black people, but apparently money changed hands, but I'm able to tell about a murder that the government did in the Phoenix area, and nobody, this is the point I'm getting at, that nobody exists to watch over crimes that government is committing. Nobody. The FBI said, well, the first thing you should have done, you were supposed to go to the Arizona Attorney General. This was pertaining to other things because there have been a lot of them. And so I told him immediately, I said, well, I just told you that was the first place I went to. And he says, oh, excuse me. He said, but that's the one that's supposed to take care of it. And they never did. Continuous denial. At one point, should I go into it? Well, Tom Horn was the Arizona Attorney General at one point, and he is one of the crooks that I can mention because he chose to be a public figure. It's a problem with having the phone in here. You don't get the call that you're asking for. The sergeant, there's also a police officer that had called me, and I can't get through to him either. They will not put me through to this sergeant. Well, why not? Yeah, why isn't there somebody in this precinct answering a call, putting me through to this sergeant? Is it that difficult? Well, they put a barrier in between because the Phoenix police are organized crime. And these are things you need to complain about without protesting. This is ridiculous. It's disgraceful wandering around in the street and causing trouble. They had the Black Lives Matter, and then what the TV was showing us, what I saw, were young, overweight white women on that TV camera was showing us. That's what I saw, so think about that. What is going on and all this damage? This should be the way to do it. Now, here's your job. I told you I'd first call Kate Gallego, and so few videos, shame on all of you. Get more views on these videos, they're interesting. I don't have a laugh track on it, I don't have music with it. These are educational videos, and this is the only education in real psychology you're ever going to get, because there's good evidence that Lucifer was the only other one recorded in history, and then when I was born, I have the ability of reasoning, and none of you do. I was quite amazed that you can't comprehend sequence, and you play by a game that the bad guy tells you, because the bad guy is the inherent winner. And they lied up one end and down the other. Oh, Jesus liked it. He's dying for the sins of the world. And that is your most common lie by police, that it's the victim's fault. The victim did it. They did it to themselves. They tell any lie they want. Is that really? Now we can be doing without police, military. I'm not saying get rid of them. I'm saying educate yourself. Learn this new item. And by next month, the number will be down to 42 years that I have to teach you. I looked yesterday, 7 subscribers on these videos. Well, in 42 years, what would that be? About 300? Let's see what we got. 42 times 7 equals 294, less than 300 viewers. And that has got to change. You've got to break open and start getting interested in this. And these very simple things that you could be doing. I've got this blocked off so that nobody can see names and whatever, but yeah, these names should be public. How are they ashamed of themselves? I went and why can't I get straight through to this sergeant? Why can't I leave him a message? Will he call back? Yeah, he didn't before. He's supposed to be looking up the information that he could have walked around that precinct and gathered in 10 minutes. He probably already knew, and that's why this officer and this sergeant had called me. They may both be involved in that. And that's all I've got. Real psychology. You take your information. No, you don't abandon your information because maybe it's not that way. You take the information that these two are the ones that called. So that makes them a person of interest immediately, especially when the officer claimed not to know that the sergeant had called, and they both called about 5 hours apart or something. And why didn't Kate Gallego call? Is she going to send me a letter to verify that they're looking into it? I'll keep you posted. So far, not. It's been weeks since I've heard from the officers, and I was surprised to hear from them, because it's the same precinct apparently where the crime is coming out of. And here again, a bank robber is going to be looking for the bank robber, but they're probably not going to find him. So here's some jobs that you can really do. Why is it that we're not allowed to talk to a sergeant in an important issue? Now, somebody has some squabble of, you know, I'm giving you a balance here. a squabble about the neighbor's dog barking or something. No. When I'm accusing officers of doing a setup in a parking garage at the Paradise Valley Mall on September 11, and it was the mob boss's daughter that set me up with that date to be in that area. September 11, 2019. And she was also involved in another car crash. I'd love to be using first and last name, because one of the other car crashes, I do have first and last name of the culprit, and there was a Toyota truck on the left side. They did a stop short crash to pay for the mob boss's daughter to come out from Chicago. Long story, but you've got moves forward. You can contact these people. You've got a computer. Use it for intelligent purposes. Why was I not allowed to talk to a sergeant? Why was I not allowed to talk to a human being? There were no humans there. With all the costs that they're putting on us, police this, police that, what about the important issues that need to be looked into? And so we got a long way to go here. Why isn't Kate Gallego, who was apparently supposed to be taking care of this, because she refused to answer me? Why not? You can't send one letter? It wouldn't matter anyway, because they're all pointing in opposite directions. They've done that from day one. And the Arizona Attorney General, was it 2011 or 10 that Tom Horn was in power there, and should I get into that story? Well, community development of the Pine, Arizona area was trying to steal out a bunch of money, between $10,000 and $20,000. Not a lot of money to all of you. To keep me from paying extra on my mortgage in Phoenix, because there were organized crime in Arizona to steal out my home in Phoenix that I owed $5,000 on when they attacked me. Much organized crime going on. I'm not going to make a 10-hour video out of this. At one point, Gila County had put a false street address on my property, trying to finagle between $10,000 and $20,000. One of the items was charging me quadruple for a building permit that I was not legally required to get. And they had felled me 3 times with casual taser attack on my property. Took me away in leg chains, and I ended up to a dirty judge that gave me numbers to describe what I was charged with, and said, you can't ask what those numbers are. Everything they do in Arizona is illegal. And then off to the Globe Jail. And one of the thefts that they did to waste off $10,000, $460 for taxi cabs to get back to my home in Pine. And they didn't let me out on my own recognizance after seeing the judge that morning. They took me on to Globe, 120 miles away, because my name is Gary York. And let's find out why. I know I was born into organized crime, but am I the second coming? I do have a different mind frame than everyone else. Is it not that big a deal? Is all this fluff that the Bible was? And my answer is yes. And as you're exposed to that now, is that Bible a bunch of lies? And it's very obvious it is. Angels, devils, virgins, gods, what do you got, spirits, any kind of trash. Well, you can say anything, you can think anything. Think has no boundaries of truth or reality. And that's what you've done. And you think lies today, you think lies tomorrow. 2021 years, you think lies. And here you are comfortable with that. Because that's how the mind-body works. I call it mind-body. I cut a chicken's head off. It's still running around the yard. So apparently it's not exactly the head making it run. It's the body too. Whatever. So you've got things you can do to move forward. Call these police station. Why can't Gary York get through to a sergeant? What is going on here? And will he call back? I'll keep you updated on that. But tell your friends this is information times 8 billion, because you've got the identical problem going all the way around the world, whether it's Canada or the Taliban over in some other country that's none of America's business. Causing trouble. They're identical to American government, and you're locked in a mess. We do not have freedom of speech. I tried putting 5 first and last names and telling about that murder on the 4th video, and it was not allowed to be shown. As I tried to load it on YouTube, the first 15 minutes of that video, I was able to see. They were able to come through the computer and lock up the other part of the chip. I had the chip reader in the computer, so it wouldn't play. The 46-minute video would not play past 15 minutes. And trying to reproduce these videos when I'm not being paid for this is a problem in itself. Send me some money, I can record it as income. Oh, you've got to pay Joel Osteen because he's matching some trash you heard on TV. And the truth shall set you free, not this loop of lies you're in. And it is the only true miracle you'll ever have, that all of you are pieces of crap. And you're all in this together, each one of you is. No matter who you think that person next to you is, and you're jealous of them, no. You're the same. American government is the same as government throughout. And we can do a lot better than that by separating bad government and good government, just as I've separated game psychology and real psychology. And this will be then the 28th video. So if you don't know what this is about, you don't know what you're doing, watch the other videos. They're made to watch repetitively. Number 23 is an 11-minute video. It has one good point in it. And if you can't watch anything else, go to YouTube and put in number 23 Real Psychology Gary York, and you'll come up with that. Try pushing subscribe, and it should bring you a lot of others. And my Facebook also homepage, you can click on my pictures and they should come up. But these videos give you something your TV is not giving you. They're giving you a connotation. They're telling you what fool to be for them. Let's move forward on learning these dirty police. I already know they are. I've been a victim 58 years now. Victim and student of organized crime. And the people that thought they'd send me on the murder thought they were even. No, they weren't. The last 15 years of the one person's life, he had moved to a different state, thought he was away from Maricopa County. No, he wasn't. They give you a bad operation, another bad operation, another one, therapies, a bottle of pills for $12,000. Over a 15-year period of torturing this person, they laundered $2.5 million through the drug and hospitaling. And when you think you've got health coverage, health is a vehicle to say something. What kind of health? Health doesn't have a meaning as a vehicle to speak by. Care is a vehicle. Is it good care? Is it bad care? That's getting better. But you people have no idea how dishonest your language is and how you're not understanding anything. You take a memory match as agreement. It's called an instead of. And you're not. You're not agreeing with something. You've merely heard it over and over again by a credible source. Here's my thing for sarcasm. The bigger guy, the bad guy, is inherently the winner because the bad guy is unified. Uniform? No. Probably 1 in 15 Phoenix police is actually in a uniform. But 100% of them are criminals from what I've collected over 58 years. And here again, don't tell me less information. Tell me more if you don't. You want me to see something another way? Give me more information. I'll redecide that. Show me one that's not. And is that just a little squeak down there? You know, it's called a front. They have one good guy representing, and they're probably not so good either, and then the rest of them are crooks, and you can only look at the good guy. It's called a front. Terms like money laundering, slavery, you're all being subject to this. This was the last video, number 30, so this is 31. And I mentioned how you have, Republicans have so much to move forward. This is an organized crime brag, that they're not only able to manipulate what they're giving you to count for votes, but they're able to put it in Biden's favor and against Trump. And that's what occurred. Biden got in. And there were other things you should have been looking at. There were 2 large events. And so anyway, that was the last video though. But you've got a real mess. Organized crime in Maricopa County. Learn how to do it. Move forward on that and learn. It's all legal. It's amazing how burning down buildings becomes legal. Wow. But anyway, look things over and try and do things with an intelligent mind now. And not a closed mind. Oh, it goes against your religion. Well, shame on you. If your religion can't stand up to truth, then throw your "in God we trust" in the garbage and look at the government that is really there in the real world. And God is real. The evidence we have now is a very large psychological problem created by people. And that is your only true miracle, that you are all 8 billion. I tried to do a movie instead of these videos 2 years ago. I wanted to do a movie. I couldn't find anyone to represent the 8 billion fools. And this is going to be about an hour-long video. I couldn't find anyone to represent the 8 billion fools. The point being very clear there. When you're ashamed of who you are, and you're given the option to be who you probably really want to be. Now is your time to identify it. You can't identify your problems because it becomes the try not to. And I've had those signs up before. Look at my old other videos. The try not to doesn't work, the instead of does. So they can put a lie in place of the truth, but they can't put nothing in there. And when they killed Jesus, they couldn't tell you the truth, that it was probably a mind frame like this that Jesus was teaching, and he probably learned it from Lucifer. Because they said Lucifer was a fallen angel? No. Because that lies off that the victim is the culprit. Lucifer was the victim of that. He didn't fall himself. The government did. So I want you to think about that. The Pilate's gang burned Lucifer in a lake of fire, and then Jesus was still teaching what he had learned from his carpenter buddy Lucifer. Jesus' father was a carpenter. And here again, how could they pass that off of the Virgin Mary when she's married? Well, because women were that big a failure back then that it was believable. And you need to, women need to look at it. You've got a whole new world ahead where you don't have to be a disgusting mess. Striving to be worse each day. That was a very bizarre road that your TV has brought you down. I didn't bring much today. I just changed out a shirt. I was fishing all day, and plenty of catfish biting, and all of them are 1 pound. So I had a lot of fun channel catfishing at Brush Hollow, and these things are good, and there's not too many people fishing at the lake. You could have a much, much better world when you start eliminating insurances. Not the try not to won't work, but the instead of. Try this also, and then it will tend to fade out game psychology, and you're going to have government after you. And all of what I'm offering you is legal. And protesting, even though they're not charging anybody apparently, tipping over cars in the street that the productive working people have made, is just a worship of of the culprits. And apparently it's legal to do all that destruction when you're protesting. Try doing something intelligent. It's legal. Call the Phoenix Police Precinct, 56th Street and Greenway Road. I've got 16030 North 56th Street. This phone number I just called, 602-495-5006. And call them, try to get through, ask them why we can't directly talk to a sergeant or a police officer. And if they tell you, oh gee whiz, they're busy and you'll have to pay them more money to do that, tell them Gary York has an important issue. And try to move forward without being a criminal. You've all spent your lifetimes trying to be criminals. Getting around 55 minutes. I want to save that little of that chip for one last one. But try moving forward. Try fighting your sleep state. And if anybody has any answers on how to wake an entire world of people, do it. When Bush Jr. appealed to an entire world of people that God told him to blow up Iraq, and I've heard the lies that, oh no, he didn't, it was a father and son thing. No, I saw it on the TV. So if there's a problem there, talk to the TV about it. And no psychologist anywhere on the earth had the solution to it, and I do, of course, good God, bad God. If you're going to pretend you have a God, the concept that God is only good and that people and the devil are bad, no, I'm not bad. And that's a fact. This sin, no one ever thought about it. It's identical to your modern day policing conglomerate or monopoly, either way you want to call it. Organized and pussified crime is a better way of putting it, because you have to have that to weigh against. Without that, you're locked into one, which is game psychology called hypnosis. Hypnosis causes permanent and very severe brain damage, which you're passing on to your fetuses, to your babies. And you can do much better than this, but you have to fight to gain a state of decency, a fight to try to find intelligence. And this can be your move forward. You've got so much on the internet, yet unity, you working people, shame on you and your humilitousness. You get proud of your work. Jesus did construction work, just like his father, just like Lucifer apparently. They burned him in a lake of fire. That tells me construction work. Lucifer knew Jesus. Get thee behind me, Satan. Tells me they were both on the earth at the same time. They knew each other. You take all kind of spiritual lies out of things, and you got two men that knew each other. And get thee behind me, Satan. I don't know what the hell that meant. The failure of women probably has something to do with it. And you women will love to move forward. When you're a better person with a healthy mind, your body, your appearance, everything around you is better. And it is not correct to be striving to be worse. That is not a healthy state of being and should be identified. That is 55 minutes. Contact the Phoenix Police. Let's see if we can get them cleaned up. Thank you.